Alright guys, so today I was wanting to talk about why older cars and motorcycles are cooler, not necessarily better, but cooler than the newer stuff we have out now. So I'm going to take a playbook out of everybody else on YouTube and use the whiteboard. So we'll start at number one. That is going to be body lines. Man, they have identity. There's just everything that you see nowadays. You go into a parking lot and it's crossover, pickup truck, whatever, but they all look the same. All the headlights are the same. Everything down to the body lines and the shape all look the same. It's hard to tell manufacturers apart from each other nowadays. So, back in the day, you could see a set of headlights a quarter mile down the road from you, and just by the shape of those headlights, you could tell what vehicle it was. And I think vehicles have lost that in the past probably 15 years. The identities of them have just been stripped. They're just strictly a machine to get you from point A to point B. There's nothing better than seeing an older vehicle pull up that's got a elongated hood or short trunks. Maybe they have super squared body styles, or maybe they're super bubbly, whatever it is. They all had their quirks to them, and each manufacturer decided that that was kind of the look that they were going for. It used to be Ford looked different than Chevrolet looked different than Dodge, BMW looked different than Volkswagen, or Audi, however you want to compare those two. But everything nowadays, anytime you put an SUV next to an SUV, they all look the same. It's just, the identity's gone. So that's why the body lines, the curvature, the thought that went into it, that's why I really prefer, man, I'm gonna have to cut this video up. That's why I really prefer the older, more classic vehicles. And when I say classic, it's probably for you and I mean shit that I grew up with. It's sad to say that my car is considered a classic at this point. So, anywho, we'll jump to number two. Less tech. So I don't know about you, but in the past, I'd say since 2015, maybe 2010, 2015, we started really getting into ABS. Has been around for a while, stability control, all that stuff. It's been around for a long time. But the amount of, how harsh it is to the vehicle, is just astronomically different. In an older vehicle, there was a stability button or a traction control button. You could press it, everything was off at that point. You wanted to go rip some Peel Elliots, send it to the moon. On the new stuff, even once you disable that stuff, it's still kind of there. I had an FJ Cruiser at one point, and it was one of the manual transmission four-wheel drives, so that was an all-time all-wheel drive with a manual transfer case. And in order to get the traction control off of it when I was off-roading or anything like that, I would actually have to go unplug the ABS module. And that was the only way that when I was off-road, if it started slipping or one wheel started spinning, it wouldn't bog the engine down and kind of screw you up on the trails. So, and those are a 2007, so that technology was already kind of there. But anyway, less tech, you feel the car more. Literally, it's what I wrote. You feel the car more. It's more personable, and more driver focused. Anything that you're in nowadays, like my F450, for instance, it's a 2019. It has all the bells and whistles. It has adaptive cruise control and all that fun stuff, which is freaking awesome. Now that I have it, I kind of wouldn't want to go without it, at least for a daily driver. But it kind of takes away from the feeling of I'm not really driving the truck's driving me, so it has its pros and cons. Less tech though. Less tech is definitely one of the biggest things that keep me going back to an older vehicle, especially for a weekend car or an enthusiast vehicle or project, whatever we're doing. They're just more fun to drive. Let's just talk about one other thing. Automatic transmissions nowadays, they're superb. I mean, crispy shifts, they're awesome. I still want to change gears. I still want to row through the gears and enjoy that and have that connection with the vehicle. Can't really get that nowadays unless you want to go spend $200,000-$300,000 on some sort of Porsche or a supercar or whatever that offer it. I know there's stuff here and there that you can get for cheap, but I'm not into it. So anyway, manual transmissions. Best thing that ever happened to the world was that, and it's sad to see them go. Number 3, interiors. Most modern interiors, they're just, once again, they're there to get you from point A to point B. Can you get cool interiors in modern cars? Absolutely. You have to pay a freaking premium for them. Older cars, you get into those, they feel like they were built for you to be in it and enjoy it. I've had plenty of cars throughout the years. My Mini Coopers, they were cool. You had a giant speedo in the center and your tachometer right behind the steering wheel, and it was cool. All your switches were in the middle. I felt like somebody thought that through to think, how would it be fun to drive this car? It's not very fast. It's a Mini Cooper, right? So how do we make this cool and how do we market it to people? And they did a really good job doing it. My FJ Cruiser, once again, I really enjoyed that. Everything designed around it was, in my idea of like, if I wanted to build something to go off-road, what would I do? And they built a super awesome interior on that. It split front seats, very squared off dash, plenty of cubby holes everywhere, accessories, factory subwoofers, just cool stuff that you really, I guess nowadays you get subs in cars, but they're all hidden. It's not cool. Like the FJ had it exposed in the trunk. When you open it up, you had the F-Jammer subwoofer. It's super cool. The personality is just gone out of newer vehicles. When I see Hyundais or Kias or even new BMWs, the kidney grills are atrocious. They're 5 foot tall and 7 foot wide. Some of the ugliest things I've ever seen in my life. The newer Volkswagens, the newer Audis, all that stuff, everything is more designed to look aggressive, and aggressive is good, but it's not always good when everybody's trying to do it, because you get to a point where it's too extreme, and it doesn't have to be extreme. Another thing is lighting on new vehicles. New vehicles have tons of daytime running lights and the halos and all that stuff, and that used to be cool. If you had that on an old car, you were the cool guy at the meet, or you were just above and beyond with it. Nowadays, it's normal. I almost prefer, I have LEDs in this, and I kind of want to take my LEDs out and go back to halogen bulbs, just because it's different. Nobody runs that anymore. I kind of got off topic there with interiors and started talking about exteriors again, but whatever. You get what I'm saying. The interiors were driver focused. They were just awesome. Toyota Supra Mark IV. Everything in the interior turned and cocked towards the driver. I'm pretty bad at this. Not very good at telling stories or trying to tell you why I like shit, but we're all trying here. We'll jump to number 4. Projects. Guess what old cars do? They break. So if you really like working on stuff, or you don't know how to work on stuff and you want to buy something cheap that you can work on and it doesn't cost a whole lot for the parts, and if you break something, it's not that big of a deal, there you go. Go get I don't know what they go for now, but an early 2000s Honda or a late 90s Honda, or you can go get 328i BMWs, or you can go get probably Audi S4s. I'm not very good with those, but Volkswagen Golfs. You can find all sorts of cool stuff, and just start wrenching on it. Make it your own vehicle. That's kind of the point, right? Whether you modify it, change the wheels, paint color, change the interior up, whether it's going to extremes like that or engine swapping it, it can also just be as simple as refreshing the brakes on it or cleaning the interior up or whatever that gives you that sense of satisfaction. Even doing small things like that kind of make the car less of just a car and kind of make it more of you. And projects don't always have to be some frame up ground restoration or motor swaps or anything big. A project can be as simple as if you want to do a new headliner in your car, which is more difficult than you think, but whatever, a set of wheels or just something small to set your vehicle apart. You can do that and work on these. Coilovers, pretty simple. Most older cars, the suspensions are absolutely blown out. They need to be replaced anyway. Coilovers nowadays are readily accessible for pretty cheap for a halfway decent brands. They can get very expensive, but if that's something you want to do, you could lower your car, you could lift your car, or lift your SUV, you could, whatever. Plenty of different options on it. So having a project is pretty cool. Buying a new vehicle, you might have a warranty on it and you don't want to put an exhaust system on it, or you don't want to do an aftermarket intake, or you don't want to void that warranty. So you're kind of stuck with what it is. Not saying that's a bad thing. Warranties are pretty cool as long as they work out. But projects, man, it's the thing that keeps me going in life. If I didn't have something to toy around with, I'd lose my mind. That's why I've got motorcycles and cars and trucks, everything. The last thing on the list, simplicity. And I think simplicity kind of gets captured in all this because we have less tech. We have, less tech. I guess I only really had that in there for you. But simplicity on the vehicles. Newer vehicles nowadays, I would almost argue that they're a little easier to work on as far as troubleshooting. A little more difficult to work on as far as like getting into the engine bays or servicing a transmission or whatever it may be. A lot of vehicles nowadays have lifetime fluids, which is a total lie. Don't do that. But lifetime fluids, things like that, they don't have service ports. The rear diffs, whatever, they're sealed. And I had a BMW 135 8 or 9 years ago, and they said that it had lifetime fluid for the rear diff. Everything was sealed up. You can't get to it. So you literally have to suction everything that's out and then refill it, which is fine. It's doable, but it's just more difficult to service and work on these vehicles. A lot of things are hidden behind what I would call a paywall. The dealerships don't want you to be able to work on these cars. Boy, I stutter a lot, but anyway, the dealerships don't want you to be able to work on these cars. They want you to bring them to you. They want you to bring the car to them so that way they can service it and work on it, which is great for some people. Some people have no interest in working on cars and if that's you, this video probably ain't for you anyway. But older vehicles, since they have less computers and less, what's the word I'm looking for here? We'll just say less ECUs, because you have your transmission control modules, your ECUs, your TCU, which a TCU is ECU, whatever. You get what I'm saying. There's less modules in it, which means there's less things that the car can check to kind of try and find a fault. So from a troubleshooting standpoint, if you're not kind of like a seasoned vet on it, sometimes it might be difficult versus if you plug into a newer car, it pretty much will lead you in the direction that you need to go, tell you exactly what's wrong with it. And most of the time it's a quick, easy fix. Sometimes you might run into what isn't the problem. There's another underlying problem, but 9 times out of 10, it's easy to find. Older cars, the simplicity that goes into them for working on them is they were built to be worked on. everything. You can about take this car apart with the tools that they give you that are in the trunk. Yes, there's some specialty stuff, but I could pretty much do whatever I needed to do on the side of the road and be able to repair this. Simple repairs. They don't even give you spare tires anymore, and got to pay extra for that. And for the jack too, just so you're aware. That's an option on vehicles now, not a luxury. So that really steers me to it. So running back through the list one more time, body lines. I really do think cars looked much better in previous years. I'm not talking about the 1950s, even though those were beautiful cars. I'm more talking 90s and 2000s. They had much more character. The less tech. If you're like me and you want to go whip some shitties, this is difficult to do in a newer vehicle. The interiors. I really enjoy an older interior. I think you get more quality leathers, or which I guess you probably don't even really get leather today unless you're buying a very high-end vehicle, but you just get a more quality feel. When I sit in this BMW and then I go sit in, let's just say like a new Tacoma or a new, actually we'll use like even a base model Z4 or a newer 325. There is a significant quality difference that I can tell from the touch and feel and the thoughtfulness of where things were put. Huge difference. And that's why, once again, if you're still with me here, older cars are awesome. Projects. I like working on stuff. That's also why I like it. My truck really doesn't ever really have any problems, but when it does have problems,
it's very expensive.
Even for me to fix. Simplicity. Just getting, what did I put on that? Oh, the way they stand out. Something I didn't touch on this. Every time I drive my BMW, there's nothing special about this car. It's an M Roadster. It's old. It doesn't have the S54 that's sought after. It's the S52. But that doesn't matter. Every single time I take this car out in public, I've had people from drive-thrus yell at me and tell me that it's like, that's an awesome car. I've had people stop at red lights and ask me how long I've had it, give me thumbs up, all sorts of stuff. Guess what happens when I had my 135, which was a newer vehicle, or when I drive my truck or my wife's Range Rover or whatever?
Nobody cares.
Because it looks like everything else out on the road. Whoops. So if you guys stuck around to the end, as always, thank you for watching. And please let me know if you like what you're seeing, if you preferred the mechanical repair videos or things like that. Let me know in the comments. If you kind of liked this, where I kind of talk about stuff and I can angle towards that, also let me know. I'm still trying to figure everything out here as far as how to even do this, but if I don't keep trying, I'll never make it. So for anybody that watched it all the way to the end, I really appreciate it. Thank you. Y'all take it easy.